The galaxy mocked when humans sent one ship. Then it arrived. Alan Porter looked out the window of the United Earth Space Agency headquarters. The stars seemed to mock him tonight. Somewhere up there, 17 alien species traveled between those stars, trading, fighting, and building an empire that spanned half the galaxy, and they all agreed on one thing: humans were not worth talking to. "Director, they're ready for you," said his assistant from the doorway. Alan nodded and straightened his jacket. The most important meeting in human history was about to begin, and almost nobody on Earth knew about it. The conference room fell silent as Alan entered. Around the table sat the 12 people who might save humanity: scientists, military leaders, and government officials who had been sworn to secrecy. "The resource projections are worse than we thought," Alan began. He touched a button, and a hologram appeared above the table. Earth glowed blue, then slowly turned brown and gray as the simulation ran forward in time. "At current rates, we have 30 years before global crop failures. Maybe 40 before the wars over water begin." Samantha Wright, the chief engineer, leaned forward. "And the council races won't help us?" "They don't even answer our messages," Alan said. "We've been sending signals for 50 years. They've been ignoring us for 50 years. General Williams frowned. "They fly their ships past our solar system like we don't exist, sometimes close enough that our telescopes can see them. Because to them, we're animals in a zoo," said Samantha. "Interesting to look at, but not worth talking to." Alan tapped another button. The hologram changed to show a sleek ship design. "This is why I called you here. Project Defiance." The room grew even quieter. "One ship?" asked General Williams. "We're going to save Earth with one ship?" "One ship is all we can build," Alan said. "We've been secretly collecting alien transmissions for decades. Their signals bounce all over the galaxy. They don't encrypt most of them because they think no primitive species could understand their technology." Samantha stood up and walked to the hologram. "But we did understand. We've learned enough to build this. Not as good as their ships, but good enough to reach the council." "And then what?" asked a senator. "We beg for help?" Alan shook his head. "We show them they were wrong about us. We've studied their politics, their conflicts, their needs. We know more about them than they think." "This is insane," the senator said. "If we fail, if we do nothing, Earth dies slowly," Alan cut in. "The projections are clear." Samantha touched the hologram, spinning the ship design. "We can do this. I've been working on the engine design for 15 years. Who would crew such a ship?" asked a scientist from the back. "We have volunteers," Alan said. "The best Earth has to offer." 4,000 miles away, in a training facility hidden beneath the New Mexico desert, Daniel Hayes ran until his legs burned. Next to him, Lisa Morgan kept pace, her breathing steady. "Think, the aliens will have treadmills?" Lisa asked between breaths. Daniel laughed. "I'm more worried about whether they'll have oxygen." They rounded the final corner of the track, where Gregory Kim waited with a tablet in hand. He was the mission's science officer, responsible for understanding alien biology. "If my translations are correct," Gregory said, "the council chamber has separate atmospheric sections. We should be able to breathe." "If your translations are correct," Daniel repeated with a smile. "That's reassuring." Gregory shrugged. "I've only had alien language transmissions to work with. No pressure." The three of them walked toward the center of the facility, where a replica of the Defiance's bridge stood. It was smaller than most people imagined a spaceship would be. No wasted space, no luxury, just the essentials for a crew of 12 on a 3-year journey. Olivia Martinez looked up from under a console where she was checking wiring. "Captain on deck," she said with a grin. Daniel waved her off. "Not captain yet, Chief." 3 more weeks, Olivia reminded him. "Then we're all stuck with you in charge." The ship was almost ready, secretly built in pieces at facilities around the world, then assembled in orbit. Most of Earth's space budget for the past decade had gone into this single vessel. One chance to save humanity. That night, as the crew ate dinner together, John Campbell, their military strategist, showed them something on his tablet. Intercepted this today, he said. The council knows we're building a ship. The table fell silent as they watched the recording. The alien spoke in its own language, but subtitles appeared below, translated by Gregory's software. The humans are launching a vessel, the alien said. Its skin was blue with ridges along its head. One primitive ship with their primitive technology. How far do they think they'll get? Another alien, this one with gray skin and 4 eyes, laughed. They'll be lucky to reach their own moon without breaking apart. John turned off the recording. They're mocking us. Good, said Daniel. Let them underestimate us. They've been watching us, Lisa said. Spying on us. Of course they have, Gregory replied. They monitor all developing worlds. We're just an entry in their database. Daniel stood up. Then let's change our status. They think we're sending a ship to join their galaxy. They don't realize we're sending a ship to change it. 2 weeks later, a leak reached the press. A reporter managed to photograph the Defiance during a supply run to the orbital construction site. Humanity's Hail Mary, read the headline. Secret spaceship, our last hope? The world governments were forced to acknowledge the project. Debates raged. Protests formed. Some called it a waste of resources. Others called it humanity's greatest achievement. Through it all, the crew continued training. And in orbit, the ship was completed. On launch day, millions watched the live broadcast as the crew boarded the Defiance. The ship wasn't beautiful by Earth standards. Its hull was a patchwork of materials, its shape odd and asymmetrical. But every strange angle, every unusual feature had a purpose, designed from stolen alien knowledge. What if they're right? Laura Peterson, the communications officer, asked quietly as they prepared for launch. What if we are just primitives playing with technology we don't understand? Kevin Roberts, security officer, checked his harness. Then we die with dignity, better than waiting for Earth to slowly starve. Daniel took his captain's chair and looked at his crew. Any regrets? 12 faces looked back at him, determined, afraid, hopeful. Not a one, Captain, said Olivia. Let's go introduce ourselves to the galaxy. The Defiance lifted off, leaving Earth behind. As they passed the moon, they intercepted another alien transmission. The humans have actually launched their ship, a voice said. How amusing. I give it 1 Earth month before it fails. Daniel smiled. Send a message back to Earth, he told Laura. Tell them we're on our way. The stars stretched before them, no longer mocking, but inviting. The journey had begun. The galaxy mocked, when humans sent one ship. Then it arrived. 6 months into their journey, the Defiance drifted in the empty space between stars. Inside, the crew had settled into their routines. The initial excitement had faded into the daily reality of life aboard a ship barely large enough for 12 people. Daniel Hayes floated into the bridge area, pushing himself along the handrails. In space, they kept gravity systems off when possible to save power. Status report, he said. Lisa Morgan looked up from her navigation station. On course, Captain. We'll reach the Proxima star in 3 days. Any signs we're being tracked? Gregory Kim shook his head. Nothing on sensors. The council races seem to have lost interest in us. Their communication channels barely mention Earth anymore. Daniel nodded. This was according to plan. The council thought the human ship would fail quickly. When it didn't, they assumed it would fail eventually. Why waste resources monitoring what they saw as a doomed mission? Good, Daniel said. The less attention, the better. He made his way to engineering, where Olivia Martinez and her team worked constantly to improve the ship's systems. The Defiance wasn't just a vessel, it was a laboratory. Using what they learned during the journey, they upgraded and modified each system. How's our special project coming? Daniel asked when he found Olivia. She grinned and pointed to a complex device taking shape in the corner. The shield generator is at 67% capacity, better than we hoped. Will it work? In theory. We won't know until we test it against actual alien scanning technology. Daniel looked at the device with mixed feelings. So much of their plan depended on technologies they had never tested against the real thing. They had built the Defiance based on intercepted alien communications, studying scraps of information and making educated guesses. "Have faith, Captain," Olivia said, seeing his expression. "Human ingenuity, remember?" "Human ingenuity," he repeated. It had become something of a mantra among the crew. Later that night, while most of the crew slept, Daniel met with John Campbell in the small room they used for strategy sessions. "The Council defense patterns are more complex than we thought," John said, showing Daniel a simulation. "Based on their recent military exercises near the Arcturus system, they've upgraded their patrol ships." "Can we still get through?" John ran a hand through his hair. "Yes, but we'll need to be perfect, no mistakes." "We've got 2.5 years to practice," Daniel said. Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm. Red lights flashed throughout. The ship as Daniel rushed to the bridge. "What is it?" he demanded. Laura Peterson, who was on night watch, pointed to the sensor display. "Unknown object, closing fast from behind us." "Alien ship?" "No." She shook her head. "Too small. Possibly. A drone or a missile." Daniel hit the shipwide comm. "Battle stations." Within minutes, the entire crew was awake and at their posts. Kevin Roberts, the security officer, was already running defense scenarios. "Whatever it is, it's locked onto our engine signature," Kevin said. "And it's fast." "Options?" Daniel asked. "We can't outrun it," Lisa said from navigation. "Not without going to full power, which would light us up like a beacon for any council ships in the sector." Olivia spoke up from engineering. "We could modify our engine signature, make it think we're something else." "How long?" 30 minutes, maybe less." "The object will reach us in 22 minutes, Kevin warned. Daniel made his decision. "Everyone into suits. Prepare for possible hull breach." As the crew put on their spacesuits, Olivia and her team worked frantically to change the engine's output pattern. The object continued to close the distance. 17 minutes to impact, Kevin updated. Daniel moved to the weapon station. The Defiance had limited defensive capabilities, another compromise they had made to save space and power. "Ready countermeasures," he ordered. 15 minutes. Olivia's voice came over the comm. "We need more time." Daniel looked at the approaching object on the screen. It was too small to be a ship, but too large to be a standard missile. A hunter-seeker probe, perhaps? Something set to find and identify unknown vessels? "Lisa, can we use the asteroid field ahead to screen us?" Lisa studied her charts. "Possibly. It would be risky." "Riskier than getting hit by that thing?" She plotted a new course. Heading into the field now, the Defiance changed direction, aiming for a dense cluster of space rocks. It was dangerous, but it might give them the cover they needed. "Object is adjusting course to match," Kevin reported. "Definitely tracking us." Daniel watched as the distance closed. "Olivia, status?" "Almost there. The engine modifications are at 80%. 9 minutes to impact." The first asteroids loomed ahead of them. Lisa guided the ship with precise movements, slipping between the floating rocks. "Object is still following." 7 minutes. Olivia's voice came through again. "We're ready. Switching." "Engine signature now." The ship's vibration changed subtly as the engines shifted to a new pattern. For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then Kevin let out a breath. "Object is slowing down. It's changing course." They watched as the pursuing object veered away, no longer interested in the Defiance. Whatever it was hunting, the ship no longer matched its target profile. "It worked," Daniel said. Hours later, when the danger had passed and the crew had removed their spacesuits, they gathered in the small dining area. "What was that thing?" Laura asked. "Most likely an automated patrol drone," Gregory said. "The Council uses them to track unregistered ships. We weren't in their database, so it flagged us as suspicious." "So they do care about us," Lisa said. "They care about unknown ships in their territory," John corrected. "They still don't take us seriously." "If they did, they would have sent a real patrol." Daniel raised his water cup. "To our first test, We passed? Barely, Kevin said. That's how we'll win, Daniel replied, one barely at a time. As the journey continued, the Defiance faced more challenges. A solar flare damaged their communications array. A micrometeoroid punctured one of the water tanks. The oxygen recyclers failed twice. Each time, the crew adapted. They repaired. They improvised. They survived. And each time they survived, the council races who occasionally detected their continuing progress grew more puzzled. How was this primitive human ship still functioning? It became a minor curiosity in their communications, a betting pool on when the humans would finally give up and turn back. What they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that the Defiance wasn't just surviving. It was evolving. With each challenge, the crew improved their ship, preparing for the moment they would arrive at the heart of the Galactic Council, the moment when the galaxy would stop mocking. The galaxy mocked when humans sent one ship. Then it arrived, 2 years and 8 months into their journey. The Defiance entered the outer reaches of the Arcturus system. The home of the Galactic Council was finally within reach. The crew gathered on the bridge, looking at the display showing their destination. There it is, Daniel said quietly. Arcturus Prime, the center of galactic power. The planet glowed blue and green on the screen, surrounded by a web of stations, ships, and defense platforms. It looked like a jewel wrapped in a metal net. Pretty, Lisa said from her seat at navigation, and heavily guarded. According to the transmissions we've intercepted, there are 19 major defense stations and at least 30 patrol ships, Kevin reported. Plus whatever they don't talk about openly. Gregory adjusted the sensors. I'm detecting signals from at least 7 different species. This truly is the heart of their civilization. Daniel turned to Laura. Are you picking up any communications? About us? She listened through her headset. Yes, they've noticed our approach. They seem confused. They didn't expect us to make it this far. Perfect, Daniel said with a smile. Let's continue as planned. Standard approach vector. No evasive maneuvers. We want to look confident, but not threatening. As the Defiance moved deeper into the system, the crew prepared for first contact. They had trained for this moment for years, but now that it was actually happening, tension filled the ship. Olivia checked the special modifications they had made to the ship's systems. The shield is ready, Captain. Once activated, their scanners won't be able to see inside the ship. Engine signature masking is online, added her assistant. They'll detect us, but they won't get accurate readings on our capabilities. John Campbell reviewed the defensive systems one last time. Remember, we don't fire unless fired upon. Even then, we use only minimal force. Daniel nodded. This isn't a military mission. We're here to talk. And if they don't want to talk, Kevin asked, then we show them why they should, Daniel replied. Light flashed on Laura's console. Incoming transmission. They're hailing us. Daniel took a deep breath. Put it on screen. The main display changed to show an alien face. It had blue-gray skin, large eyes, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its mouth moved in an unsettling way. Unidentified vessel, the alien said in its own language. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Laura had prepared for this. She activated the translation system Gregory had built using intercepted communications. This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the Earthship Defiance, she replied in the alien's language. We request permission to approach Arcturus Prime and present ourselves to the Galactic Council. The alien's eyes widened slightly, a sign of surprise. According to Gregory's research, Earthship, you are the human vessel. You were not expected to arrive. And yet here we are, Daniel said, letting Laura translate. We come in peace and wish to address the council. The alien turned away, speaking to someone off-screen. When it returned, its manner had changed. Remain in your current position. A patrol ship will escort you to a designated docking area. The screen went dark. They're sending a patrol to capture us, Kevin said. Just as we predicted. Daniel nodded. Everyone to your stations. Olivia, activate the shield but keep it at minimum power. We don't want to reveal everything at once. 20 minutes later, a large council ship approached. It was sleek and predatory, gleaming with technology far more advanced than anything publicly known on Earth. They're scanning us, Gregory reported. The shield is working. They can see our outline, but not our internal systems. They're hailing us again, Laura said. This time a different alien appeared on screen. This one had red skin and a crest of spines on its head. Its voice was deeper, more authoritative. Human vessel. You will follow us to docking station 12. Any deviation from our course will be considered hostile action. Understood, Daniel replied through Laura's translation. We will comply. As the Defiance followed the patrol ship deeper into the Arcturus system, the crew could see the massive structure that housed the Galactic Council. It was a space station the size of a small moon, with sections that clearly accommodated the different environmental needs of various alien species. Look at the architecture, Gregory said with wonder. Each section is designed for a specific atmosphere and gravity. Focus, Daniel reminded them. Remember why we're here. The patrol ship led them to a docking port on the outer ring of the station. As they approached, Laura continued monitoring council communications. Captain, she said urgently, they're discussing containment protocols. They plan to lock us in that docking bay and then disable our ship. Daniel had expected this. Olivia, prepare countermeasures. Kevin, security team to the airlock. John, be ready with defensive systems. What are we going to do? Lisa asked. Follow their directions exactly, Daniel said, but not their expectations. The Defiance docked smoothly with the station. Through the viewport they could see armed guards waiting in the docking bay. Daniel stood and straightened his uniform. Gregory, Olivia, Laura, you're with me. The rest of you maintain positions. Before they exited the ship, Olivia activated a small device on her wrist. Personal shields active, she confirmed. They can't scan us or restrain us electronically. Daniel nodded. Remember, we're not here as conquerors or as beggars. We're here as equals. They stepped through the airlock onto the council station. The alien guards watched them with weapons ready. The air was breathable but had a strange smell. A tall alien with purple skin and forearms approached them. I am Station Commander Zurl. You will surrender your weapons and follow me to quarantine. Gregory's translator conveyed the words, and Laura helped Daniel form his reply in the alien language. Commander, Daniel said, his words translated by the device Laura held. We carry no weapons and we are not here for quarantine. We request an immediate audience with the council representatives. The commander made a harsh sound that Gregory's research suggested was laughter. You request? Humans request nothing here. You will follow our protocols. Daniel smiled. Actually, Commander, we've already followed your protocols perfectly. We've studied them for decades, including the section that guarantees any new species the right to petition the council directly. The commander's posture changed. The guards looked at each other in confusion. That information is not public, Zurl said. For us it is, Daniel replied. We've been listening to your transmissions for 50 years. We know more about the council than you think. To prove his point, Daniel began reciting the formal greeting used in council ceremonies, a complex series of phrases that acknowledged each member species according to their status. The commander's multiple eyes widened. How do you know these things? The same way we built a ship capable of reaching you, Daniel said, by paying attention. Now, will you honor your own laws? Or shall we leave and tell other emerging species how the Great Council treats newcomers? There was a long silence. Finally, Zurl spoke into a communication device. After a brief exchange, the commander turned back to the humans. The council will see you. Not all of you. Just you, Captain. Daniel nodded. That is acceptable. As Daniel prepared to follow the commander, Laura touched his arm. Good luck, she said. Luck has nothing to do with it, Daniel replied. This is what we planned for. The moment of truth had arrived. Humanity's representative was about to face the Galactic Council. The galaxy mocked. When humans sent one ship, Then it arrived. Commander Zurl led Daniel through the massive council station. They walked down long hallways filled with aliens of many different species. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Daniel struggled not to stare. "They are all watching you," Zurl said. "Most have never seen a human before." "And what do they think?" Daniel asked. "They think you look weak, soft, no natural defenses." Daniel smiled slightly. Appearances can be deceiving. They reached a large chamber with a circular table. Around it sat representatives from 17 different species. Each sat in a section designed for their specific needs. Some breathed different air. Some needed higher or lower gravity. Some needed special lighting. Zurl pointed to a small platform near the entrance. "Stand there. Speak only when addressed by the high speaker." Daniel took his position and waited. The alien studied him with varying expressions: curiosity, disdain, surprise. Finally, one stood. It had golden skin that seemed to glow from within, and eyes like black pools. "I am High Speaker Vorn of the Galactic Council," it said, its voice translated through a device in the center of the room. "You are the human captain?" "I am Captain Daniel Hayes of Earth," Daniel answered clearly. "Thank you for this audience." "How did your primitive vessel reach our system?" the High Speaker asked directly. Daniel had prepared for this question. "The same way humans do anything, High Speaker, with determination and ingenuity." A red-skinned alien with spikes along its arms made a harsh barking sound. Primitive creatures always believe their accomplishments are significant. Daniel recognized the species from intercepted communications. The Zordaxian ambassador seems skeptical. Perhaps he has forgotten that his own ancestors were once considered primitive by the founding council races. The chamber went silent. The Zordaxian's spikes raised in what Gregory had told Daniel was a sign of anger or surprise. "How do you know of council history?" the High Speaker asked. "As I told Commander Zurl, we have been studying your transmissions. For decades," Daniel explained. "You broadcast quite openly across the galaxy. Your languages, your technologies, your politics, all there for anyone patient enough to listen and learn." Another alien, this one with blue scales and webbed hands, leaned forward. "If what you say is true, then your arrival here is more significant than we realized." Daniel nodded respectfully to the blue alien. "The Arcturian ambassador is correct. Our ship is not just a vessel, it is a message." "And what message is that?" asked the High Speaker. "That humanity is ready to join galactic society," Daniel said. "Not as servants or as children, but as equals." Laughter rippled around the table. The Zordaxian ambassador's barking laugh was loudest. "Equals," he said. "You have one ship, one primitive ship that barely reached our system. We each have thousands. What makes you think you could be our equals?" Daniel had waited for this opening. "May I approach the center table?" The High Speaker considered, then nodded. "You may." Daniel walked to the center of the chamber where a holographic projector stood. He removed a small device from his pocket and held it up. "With your permission, I would like to share some information." After receiving approval, Daniel connected his device to the council's system. Immediately, a hologram appeared above the table. It showed detailed schematics of the Defiance, but not as the council had seen it. The hologram revealed systems and technologies hidden beneath the ship's ordinary exterior. "Our ship appears primitive because we designed it that way," Daniel explained. "What you're seeing now is what your scanners couldn't detect." The council members leaned forward, studying the hologram with increasing interest. "This propulsion system," said the Arcturian. "It combines elements of our designs with something else." "Human innovation," Daniel said. "We studied your engines, yes, but we improved them." "Impossible," said the Zordaxian. Daniel touched his device again. The hologram changed to show a comparison between standard council defense systems and those aboard the Defiance. "Your ships specialize," Daniel continued. "The Arcturians excel at propulsion, the Zordaxians at weapons, the Proxima at communications, but each race keeps to its specialty, rarely combining technologies in new ways." He highlighted several sections of the Defiance's systems. Humans take different approaches. We combine. We adapt. We see connections where others see only separation. The high speaker studied the hologram carefully. These designs are unusual. But a single ship with interesting technology does not make your species our equal. No, Daniel agreed. But it does make us worth talking to. He changed the hologram again. This time it showed resource surveys of systems near Earth. Systems the Council had never explored. Earth may be resource poor compared to your worlds, which is why we needed to reach you. But the systems near us contain materials valuable to Council races. Materials we can help you access. The Council members exchanged glances. Daniel could see the calculation in their eyes. Perhaps these humans could be useful after all. The Zordaxian ambassador was not convinced. Pretty pictures prove nothing. Your ship is in our dock. We can examine it ourselves. Daniel smiled. You're welcome to try. But I should warn you, the moment you attempt to force your way onto our vessel, certain systems will activate. Nothing. Dangerous, I assure you. But you won't learn our secrets that way. Is that a threat? The Zordaxian demanded. It's a fact, Daniel replied calmly, just as it's a fact that we came here to talk, not to fight. We could have approached your system in secret. Instead, we came openly. The high speaker raised a hand to quiet the growing murmurs. What exactly does Earth want from the Council? Recognition, Daniel said simply. Trade agreements, cultural exchange, and eventually membership. Membership. The Zordaxians' spikes raised again. Impossible, they are barely space-capable. The high speaker looked thoughtful. The human shows unusual knowledge of our protocols and systems. Their ship reached our system despite our predictions. Perhaps we should consider... An alarm suddenly cut through the chamber. Red lights flashed as a voice spoke in several languages in succession. Security alert. Unauthorized access detected in Docking Bay 12. Daniel felt his heart sink. Something had gone wrong with the plan. The Zordaxian ambassador stood. See? They distract us while their companions sabotage our station. Commander Zerl received a message through his communication device. His four eyes widened. High speaker, the humans have activated some kind of energy field around their ship. Our security teams cannot approach it. All eyes turned to Daniel. It seems, said the high speaker, that you have more explaining to do, Captain Hayes. Daniel knew this was a critical moment. Everything depended on what was happening back at the ship. I believe, he said carefully, there has been a misunderstanding. May I contact my crew? The high speaker nodded slowly. You may. But be aware, Captain. Our patience has limits. Daniel activated his communication device, hoping Olivia and the others had a good explanation for whatever was happening. The fate of Earth might depend on it. The galaxy mocked when humans sent one ship, then it arrived. Daniel activated his communication device as the council members watched him with suspicion. Olivia, what's happening? He asked. Olivia's voice came through clearly. Captain, they tried to force their way onto the ship. A team of security officers with scanning equipment. We activated the shield as planned. Daniel looked at Commander Zerl. You ordered your people to board our ship while I was meeting with the council? The Zordaxian ambassador cut in before Zerl could respond. Of course. Did you think we would simply take your word about your technology? We needed to see it for ourselves. Daniel turned back to the council table. High Speaker, we came here in peace. We announced our presence and followed your protocols. Yet while you invited me to speak, others attempted to invade our ship. Is this how the council treats potential allies? The High Speaker looked at Commander Zerl. Was this ordered? Zerl's four eyes blinked rapidly. Standard security procedure for unknown vessels, High Speaker. We needed to assess any potential threats. By violating our ship without permission? Daniel asked. That doesn't sound like standard procedure. That sounds like the Zordaxian approach to diplomacy. The Zordaxian ambassador's spikes fully extended, in anger. You dare? Ambassador, the High Speaker interrupted. Did you authorize this action without council approval? The red-skinned alien hesitated just long enough to confirm Daniel's suspicion. The Zordaxian had acted independently, trying to seize human technology while the captain was away from his ship. Daniel spoke into his communication device again. Olivia, maintain the shield but allow it to drop for 10 seconds. Show them what you've been working on. Are you sure, Captain? Her voice asked. I'm sure. It's time they understood. The high speaker leaned forward. What are you doing, human? Proving a point, Daniel replied. The holographic display in the center of the chamber suddenly changed. It now showed a live feed from the docking bay where the Defiance was berthed. The ship was surrounded by a faint blue energy field. Council security personnel stood at a distance, their scanning devices useless against the shield. As they watched, the shield flickered and disappeared. The security team moved forward, then stopped in amazement. The Defiance was changing. Sections of the hull shifted and reconfigured. New structures emerged that had been hidden before. In just 10 seconds, the ship transformed from what had appeared to be a simple transport vessel into something much more advanced. Then the shield reactivated, hiding the ship once more. The council chamber was completely silent. What just happened? The Arcturian ambassador finally asked. Adaptive configuration, Daniel explained. Another human innovation. Our ship can reconfigure itself based on circumstances. What you just saw was our defensive mode. Impossible, whispered a small, insect-like ambassador. Such technology would require thinking differently, Daniel finished for him, which is what humans do best. He turned to face the entire council. We came here because Earth needs help. Our planet faces resource shortages that will become critical in the next few decades. But we didn't come as beggars. We came as potential partners. Daniel gestured to the hologram, which now showed the Defiance in its transformed state. We built this ship by studying your transmissions and improving on your designs. Imagine what we could accomplish together as allies. The high speaker studied Daniel for a long moment. Your ship is impressive, Captain Hayes. But it is only one vessel. How does Earth expect to contribute meaningfully to the Council with such limited resources? Daniel had prepared for this question his entire journey. High Speaker, what you saw today is just the beginning. The Defiance was our test, our proof of concept. He touched his device one last time. The hologram changed to show Earth's solar system. Then it zoomed in on a hidden facility in orbit around Jupiter. While the Council was watching our single ship cross the galaxy, we were building more. This is the Neptune shipyard, completed last month. The hologram showed a massive space station surrounded by 30 vessels in various stages of construction. All were based on the Defiance design, but each appeared to be more advanced. The second fleet launches next month, Daniel said. They're faster than the Defiance, more efficient, because we learned from our journey. The council members stared at the hologram in disbelief. You're bluffing, the Zordaxian said, but his voice lacked conviction. Am I? Daniel replied. You thought we couldn't build one ship. You were wrong. You thought we couldn't reach your system. You were wrong again. Do you really want to test if I'm wrong about our second fleet? The high speaker raised a hand for silence. If what you show us is true, then Earth has been underestimated. Significantly, Daniel agreed. And you still wish to join the council, despite our misjudgment of your species? Daniel nodded. We do. Earth needs resources that the Council controls. The Council needs innovation that Earth can provide. An alliance benefits us both. The High Speaker conferred quietly with several other ambassadors. Finally, he turned back to Daniel. The Council will need to verify your claims, and there will be many details to negotiate. Of course, Daniel said. But, the High Speaker continued, we are prepared to open formal diplomatic relations with Earth. You will be granted provisional status while negotiations proceed. It wasn't full membership, but it was a start. Daniel bowed slightly. Earth accepts. We will assign a liaison to work with you, the High Speaker said. Ambassador Kell of the Arcturians has volunteered. The blue-scaled ambassador nodded to Daniel. Your ship's propulsion system particularly interests me, Captain. Daniel smiled. I'm sure our engineers will enjoy discussing it with you. As the meeting concluded, the Zordaxian ambassador approached Daniel. His spikes were now flat, against his skin in what Gregory had said was a sign of grudging respect. That shield, he said. It blocked our best scanners. How? Trade secret, Daniel replied. But perhaps we can discuss sharing technology once Earth has full council membership. After the meeting, Daniel returned to the Defiance. His crew waited anxiously in the ship's main room. Well? Olivia asked. Did it work? Daniel looked at the faces of the people who had traveled across the galaxy with him. People who had risked everything on this mission. It worked, he said. Earth has provisional status. Negotiations begin tomorrow. The crew let out a cheer that must have been heard throughout the docking bay. Later, as they prepared to welcome the Arcturian ambassador aboard for the first official diplomatic meeting, Laura approached Daniel. Captain, she said, I've been monitoring council communications since the meeting. And? They're talking about us, about humans. They're using a new word to describe us. She checked her notes. It translates roughly as the unexpected ones. Daniel smiled. I like that. From mockery to respect in one journey. Outside the viewport, they could see dozens of alien ships moving around the massive council station. Soon, Earth vessels would join them. They mocked when we sent one ship, John Campbell said, coming to stand beside Daniel. They won't mock anymore, Daniel replied. The galaxy has changed today and humanity is just getting started.